The northern ocean stretched endlessly, a silver mirror under the early morning sun. Mist rolled over the water like slow-moving clouds, blurring the horizon, until the line between sky and sea seemed to vanish. The research vessel Odyssey cut through the calm waters with quiet precision, leaving a faint trail of foam behind. Captain Elena Marlowe stood at the bow, her hands resting lightly on the railing, her eyes fixed on the indistinct shapes ahead. The crew had been scanning this region for days, tracking unusual energy readings that seemed impossible for such a remote part of the ocean. Yet, something had finally revealed itself, and the air on the ship was thick with anticipation. Elena's first officer, Lieutenant Simon Reed, approached quietly, his footsteps muffled on the deck. "Captain," he said, pointing toward the fog, "we're getting a clear signal. It's massive. You should see this." Elena followed his gaze. Slowly, as the mist parted just enough, a shape began to emerge. It was large, impossibly large, a vessel unlike anything recorded in modern naval charts. Its hull was blackened and weathered, but it held a strange elegance, the lines of its design precise, yet unlike any human construction. The team had studied old ship designs, experimental naval blueprints, and even conceptual spacecraft schematics, but nothing compared to this. The ocean around the ship was eerily calm, not a ripple disturbing the reflection of its massive form. It seemed as though the water itself bowed to the presence of the ancient vessel. There was no wind, no sound beyond the gentle lap of waves, but the sense of anticipation was palpable. The crew gathered at the rails, whispering among themselves. Some spoke of ancient myths, lost civilizations, or secret projects, but no one had a rational explanation. Dr. Amir Patel, the ship's historian and anthropologist, squinted through binoculars. It doesn't make sense," he muttered, mostly to himself. "The hull should have decayed. The metal should have corroded, yet it floats as if it were made yesterday. And look at the structure. Those patterns, architectural elements, are unlike anything from Earth's history." Elena nodded, her mind racing. She had been captain of research vessels for over a decade, but this was unlike anything she had ever encountered. "Keep scanning," she said. "I want everything recorded. Energy readings, magnetic fields, temperature anomalies. I want to know if it's just a natural phenomenon or if we've stumbled onto something much bigger." The crew fanned out, taking readings, noting the way the light reflected off the hull, and measuring the strange magnetic fluctuations that danced over the sensors. Every reading defied expectation. The energy signature alone suggested advanced technology far beyond current human understanding, yet the ship showed no signs of movement. It was both alive and dead at the same time, a contradiction that puzzled everyone aboard. As the sun rose higher, piercing through the mist, the shape of the ship became clearer. Its hull was enormous, at least 3 times the size of Odyssey, and covered in intricate lines and patterns that shimmered faintly in the early light. Some of the designs looked like geometric puzzles, others like flowing symbols that reminded Amir of ancient scripts. But they were not human. The ship carried an aura of history, as if it had witnessed centuries of events, yet it retained the strength of something almost immortal. Simon Reed frowned, his military training taking over his curiosity. "Captain," he said, "we don't know if it's safe. There could be structural weaknesses, radiation, traps, anything. Maybe we should observe from a distance first." Elena considered his caution, but shook her head. "We can't just drift by and ignore this. This is what we trained for. Science is about exploration, not fear." She gestured to the crew. "Prepare a small approach team. We're not boarding yet, just getting closer for better readings." The calm water seemed to welcome them as the Odyssey edged nearer. The mist wrapped around the ship like a curtain, making it appear and disappear in waves. Every foot closer made the crew hold their breath. Something about the silence was alive, as if the vessel itself was aware of them, measuring their intentions. Dr. Patel stepped forward. "Do you see how the water around it barely moves? That's not normal. The displacement should be enormous with a hull of that size. It's almost like the ship is interacting with the water directly, controlling it." Elena's mind raced. The possibilities were staggering. Could this be an artifact of an advanced civilization long forgotten? Or perhaps a vessel of non-human origin? She had read reports of strange occurrences in remote parts of the world, but she had never believed them until now. As the morning progressed, subtle details became visible. The surface of the hull was black, but not uniform. Faint colors shifted under the light, like oil on water. Some areas reflected a golden hue, others blue, and at times green. It was mesmerizing. The ship's shape hinted at both function and beauty. Its deck curved elegantly, and its towering structures rose like spires, each perfectly symmetrical yet unfamiliar. Suddenly, a small ripple of movement caught Elena's attention. She leaned forward, squinting. "Did anyone else see that?" she asked. Simon looked. "It could be a wave, Captain." "No," Elena said, shaking her head. "The water hasn't moved like that before. Look, there. The ripples start from the ship itself, from the very surface of the hull. It's reacting." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. There was no doubt about it. The ship was alive in some sense, even if not in a biological way. It was as if it had been sleeping for centuries, now sensing their presence. Hours passed as the team collected data. The Odyssey remained close but careful. The sun climbed higher, burning through the mist and casting a full light on the mysterious vessel. It seemed impossible that such a large ship could remain hidden for so long in the open ocean, yet it had. No distress signals, no recent activity, nothing human had touched it for ages. By midday, Captain Marlowe made a decision. "We need to understand this up close," she said firmly. "We'll launch the observation pod. Minimal risk, maximum data. We stay in communication at all times. No one boards yet. We just need visuals and surface scans." The small pod detached from the Odyssey, its engines silent, gliding toward the ancient ship. From the bridge, Elena and the crew watched the pod approach like ants crawling toward a giant, unknowable presence. The pod's cameras sent back live feed, and the images were breathtaking. The hull's surface rippled with faint light patterns, as if acknowledging the pod. Small panels opened briefly, revealing layers of the ship's structure, intricate machinery, and glowing conduits running like veins along its spine. Dr. Patel gasped. "This is beyond anything in the history of exploration. If this is human-made, it's from a civilization that existed long before recorded history. If not, then it's something else entirely, something we've never met before." The pod circled the ship, recording data and transmitting it back. The readings were extraordinary. Energy fields fluctuating in impossible ways, materials stronger than anything synthesized on Earth, and a sense of cohesion that suggested intelligence embedded in the very fabric of the vessel. Suddenly, the lights along the edges of the hull flickered, faintly at first. The crew froze. Elena felt a shiver run down her spine. The lights pulsed gently, not random, but in a rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. The mist around the ship seemed to thicken and shift, drawn toward the light in subtle currents. "Captain," Simon whispered, "it's responding." Elena didn't speak. She could only watch, captivated and cautious. The pulse of the lights grew stronger, faint colors flowing across the hull, from blue to gold to a warm red. It was mesmerizing, hypnotic even. The ship was not dead. It had been waiting, and now it had noticed them. Dr. Patel stepped closer to the monitor. "There's a pattern. It's not random. It's communicating." I don't know how, but it is. Elena took a deep breath. The calm waters reflected the flickering lights, turning the sea into a mirror of colors. It felt as if the ship was alive in a way no one could measure, sensing the crew, weighing their intentions, deciding whether they were worthy. The day began to fade into late afternoon, yet the ship remained enigmatic and silent, with its lights pulsing gently. The crew of the Odyssey could not tear their eyes away. There was fear, certainly, but it was overwhelmed by wonder. Every historian, every scientist, every sailor aboard knew this was not just a discovery. It was a call, a signal from the past, or perhaps from beyond, a chance to glimpse knowledge that humanity had never imagined. Captain Marlowe finally spoke, her voice steady but tinged with awe. "We're not just looking at history," she said. "We're standing in front of something alive, something ancient, something beyond us. Tomorrow, we get closer. We learn what it wants. For now, we watch, we study, and we respect it." As night fell, the mist thickened, and the lights on the ship pulsed against the dark sky, shining like distant stars come down to the ocean. The crew watched in silence, hearts pounding with excitement and apprehension. For centuries, this vessel had been alone in the waters, untouched and unknown. Now, humanity had found it, and the first step into the unknown had been taken. And somewhere within the ship, deep in its hull, a faint hum resonated, a sound the human ear could not hear, but the mind could sense. The vessel had awoken, slowly, deliberately, aware that something new had entered its presence. The night held its breath, and the calm waters seemed to wait, patient and infinite. As history and the future brushed against each other in the most unexpected way. The following morning, the ocean remained calm, but a quiet tension hovered over the Odyssey. The crew moved with purposeful caution, every glance toward the ancient ship filled with anticipation. The lights along its hull had not dimmed during the night. If anything, they seemed to pulse more strongly, as though the vessel had sensed their presence more clearly and now acknowledged them. Captain Elena Marlowe stood at the bridge, her hands gripping the railing, her eyes tracing the ship's contours through the fog. Lieutenant Simon Reed reported the latest sensor readings. "Captain, the energy fields have increased by almost 15% since dawn. There's no explanation in any database for these patterns. They fluctuate in ways that defy physics as we understand it." Elena nodded slowly, absorbing the information. "Prepare the observation pod," she ordered. "We need to get closer, collect more data, and monitor any changes. Maintain a safe distance, but this time, focus on the lights. They're clearly trying to communicate." The small pod detached silently from the ship. Its cameras transmitted high-resolution images, revealing details that had been invisible from the deck of the Odyssey. Panels along the hull now opened in unison, revealing layers of material that shimmered with shifting colors. Tubes and conduits pulsed like veins, carrying a soft, luminous energy. The ship's surface rippled gently, responding to the pod's presence, as if testing its intentions. Dr. Amir Patel leaned closer to the screen, his eyes wide with wonder. "Captain, it's alive, in a way we've never seen. It reacts to us. The lights, the panels, even the water around it. They're all part of a system that senses movement and presence. This isn't a dead ship. It's aware." Elena's mind raced. For centuries, humanity had looked to the stars for signs of intelligent life, never imagining that a relic of such intelligence could lie hidden in Earth's oceans. "We proceed carefully," she said. "We do not provoke it. We observe. Every reading we take must be documented. This is not just discovery, it is the first contact with something that may exceed us in ways we cannot yet imagine." The pod drifted closer to a section of the ship that resembled a bridge. As the camera feed adjusted, the crew gasped. The area was enormous. with windows that curved elegantly along the hull, giving a panoramic view of the surrounding ocean. Strange symbols lined the edges of the structure, glowing faintly in patterns that seemed to pulse in time with the ship's lights. Suddenly, the lights along the hull flickered in a new rhythm. The crew froze, captivated and slightly unnerved. The pulse quickened, slowed, and then repeated in a sequence that seemed deliberate, almost intelligent. It was not random. It was a pattern, a language without words, speaking directly to their senses. Dr. Patel's voice trembled. "It's sending us something. I can't read it as words, but the sequence is intentional. It wants us to understand that it knows we're here. That's a message. Not in sound, not in text, but in light, in energy, in presence." Elena considered this carefully. "Do we risk approaching even closer?" she asked. "We need to understand it, but we cannot be reckless. We don't know what it can do or what it wants." Simon Reed shook his head. "Captain, caution is wise. We have never dealt with a vessel like this. It's enormous. It could contain traps, automated defenses, or even energy discharges we cannot predict. I suggest we gather as much remote data as possible before considering any boarding attempt." Elena hesitated but finally nodded. "Agreed. Stay within sensor range. Let the pod move carefully. We need to learn before we act." The pod moved forward, its cameras streaming every detail to the Odyssey. Inside the vessel, the hull's surface shifted and shimmered, panels sliding open and closed, revealing strange devices. Some resembled machinery, but they moved fluidly, like living organisms. Tubes carried glowing liquids, circuits hummed with energy, and surfaces reflected patterns that the human mind struggled to interpret. Suddenly, a section of the ship's hull opened wider, forming a passage that descended into darkness. From within, a faint light glowed, a soft, inviting luminescence. It was subtle, not threatening, yet compelling. Elena watched, sensing the ship was extending an invitation, a silent encouragement to explore further. Dr. Patel leaned closer to the monitor. "Captain, it's not just a ship. This is a message. Whoever built this, human or not, wanted someone to find it, to understand it. And now we are here. It has awakened for us." Elena felt a mix of awe and apprehension. "We will proceed cautiously," she said. "But yes, it seems the ship is aware of us, almost guiding us." "That means it's waiting for something. Maybe it wants us to act, to take the next step." The crew watched in silence as the pod hovered near the glowing passage. The water around the ship shimmered, responding to the energy fields. Even the mist seemed to thicken and swirl in patterns that mirrored the lights above. It was as if the ocean itself had become part of the communication, a medium through which the ship expressed its presence. Suddenly, the ship emitted a low hum, faint at first, then growing steadily. It was not a sound in the traditional sense. It resonated in the minds of the crew, a vibration that stirred emotions rather than eardrums. Awe, curiosity, caution, and wonder all mixed together in a powerful wave. The crew felt as if the ship was reaching into their thoughts, observing, learning, judging. Simon Reed stepped back, his hand resting on his sidearm, though he knew it would be useless here. "Captain, it's scanning us. Not physically, I mean, mentally. It knows we're here, and it can sense our intentions. We're not dealing with just a machine. This is something far more advanced." Elena nodded slowly. "Then we must be careful, but honest. We have to show that we come with curiosity, not aggression. That we seek understanding, not conquest. Everything depends on how we present ourselves." Dr. Patel's eyes were wide. "If this is a relic of a lost civilization or an alien vessel, it could contain knowledge far beyond anything we know. Star maps, energy sources, even ideas about physics that we haven't yet discovered. This is more than history. This could be the key to humanity's future." The pod hovered near the glowing passage for several minutes, its cameras transmitting every detail. The patterns of light shifted, pulsing faster now, forming sequences that seemed almost like a rhythm. It was neither random nor mechanical. It was alive with intention. Then, without warning, the lights on the hull flickered in a bright flash, synchronized across every visible panel. The crew shielded their eyes. For a moment, the mist glowed with 1,000 shifting colors, reflecting the energy of the ship in every direction. The hum resonated stronger, vibrating in a way that made the deck beneath them feel alive. Dr. Patel whispered, barely audible over the resonance. "It's acknowledging us, accepting us, or testing us. I'm not sure which. But it is reacting in a way that suggests intelligence." Elena felt a thrill of exhilaration. "We're witnessing something that humanity has never seen before. Something alive, ancient, intelligent, and aware. We must proceed with respect, observation, and careful planning. This is history in the making." Hours passed, and the pod continued its observation. The crew studied the shifting lights, noting patterns, measuring energy fluctuations, and recording every detail. Even the subtle movements of the water around the ship were documented. Every reading suggested the ship was not only alive, but also capable of interacting with its environment in ways no human technology could replicate. As evening approached, the ship's lights shifted to a softer, warmer hue. The pulsing slowed, almost like a heartbeat at rest. The water shimmered, reflecting the lights like liquid mirrors. It was beautiful, mesmerizing, and alien. The crew felt a strange mix of comfort and unease, as if they were in the presence of something far greater than themselves, something both welcoming and indifferent to their existence. Elena made a decision. "We do not leave tonight," she said. "We maintain observation. The ship has chosen to reveal itself. We respect that. But tomorrow, we will take the next step. We prepare for closer engagement, possibly entry into the passage. We are not intruders. We are visitors seeking understanding." The crew agreed, their faces reflecting a mix of excitement and anxiety. None of them had expected their mission to lead them to a vessel so ancient, so intelligent, and so beyond human comprehension. The ocean, calm and endless, now seemed like a threshold to something much larger, a gateway to knowledge and discovery. As night fell, the ship's lights flickered gently, casting a serene glow across the Odyssey and the surrounding waters. The mist swirled around the hull, reacting to the energy fields, forming shapes that seemed almost symbolic, almost communicative. It was as if the ship were telling them to wait, to prepare, to understand that the next step would be more than observation. It would be the beginning of a deeper encounter. The crew watched in silence, captivated and humbled. They were explorers in the truest sense, standing on the edge of history, about to make contact with a presence older and wiser than humanity itself. Somewhere within the ancient hull, deep in its corridors and chambers, the vessel pulsed with life. Aware that it had finally been discovered, and that the next chapter was about to begin. The night stretched on, calm and silent, yet filled with promise. The ship's energy hummed softly, a gentle invitation and a warning all at once. Humanity had found it. The ancient vessel had responded, and the first true communication between human curiosity and ancient intelligence had begun. The following morning, the sea remained glassy, reflecting the ancient ship in perfect symmetry. The Odyssey floated nearby, its crew tense with anticipation. Captain Elena Marlowe gathered her team on the deck, briefing them one last time before the next stage. Their mission was no longer mere observation. They were about to enter the vessel, to touch, see, and understand what had been untouched for centuries. "Remember," Elena said firmly, her voice steady, "we proceed with respect. We are guests. We document, we observe, and we avoid damage. We do not know what this ship is capable of, and we must show it we mean no harm. Every action matters." Lieutenant Simon Reed nodded. "Understood, Captain. Sensors are ready, and the entry pod is prepared. We will keep a direct link to the Odyssey at all times." Dr. Amir Patel's excitement was barely contained. "This is the moment I have studied history and myths for," he said softly. "If this ship is a relic of a lost civilization, or even a non-human one, the knowledge inside could reshape everything we know about our past and future. We must be careful, but we must not hesitate." The approach pod detached from the Odyssey, moving toward the glowing passage that had opened on the ancient vessel. The mist swirled around the hull, reacting to the ship's energy. The lights along the edges flickered gently, almost welcoming them. The pulse of energy, slow and rhythmic, seemed to synchronize with the pod's movement, as if the ship were guiding them. As the pod entered the passage, the crew aboard the Odyssey watched on the monitors in silence. Inside, the corridor was immense, far larger than any human-built passage of its kind. The walls shimmered, not with ordinary light, but with a soft, shifting glow that reflected colors from deep blue to amber. Strange symbols etched into the surfaces pulsed faintly, as though alive. Dr. Patel whispered, "These markings, they're not words, not language in our sense. They convey meaning, but through patterns and light. Whoever created this, human or not, built a system of communication that transcends sound and text." The pod glided forward slowly, careful not to touch the walls, though it seemed the vessel required no careful handling. Surfaces reacted to their presence, subtly rearranging panels and structures to accommodate the pod's movement. The corridor twisted and curved in ways that seemed impossible, defying conventional geometry, yet it felt natural, as though designed to accommodate more than just human perception. Suddenly, the lights along the corridor pulsed faster, forming a sequence that Dr. Patel recognized as deliberate. "It's responding to us," he said, eyes wide. "It knows we are here, not just physically but mentally. The ship senses our intentions." "It wants us to proceed." Elena's voice crackled through the pod's communication system. "Keep moving, but stay alert. We are observers first. Everything we see, everything we record, is history in the making." The pod reached a massive chamber, the size of a sports stadium. The ceiling soared high above, its surfaces covered in intricate designs that shimmered with energy. The floor was smooth, reflective, and slightly luminous. In the center, a large structure resembled a control console, though its purpose was unclear. Panels rotated and shifted gently, as if alive, revealing inner layers that pulsed with soft, multicolored light. Dr. Patel's voice trembled. "It's a bridge of some kind, or a central chamber. Look at the complexity. Look at the way the energy flows. This is not just technology. It is intelligence embodied in architecture. The vessel itself thinks, processes, and reacts. This is not merely a ship. It is a living archive." Elena stepped into the chamber, her team following carefully behind her. The air was cool, almost weightless, and carried a faint hum that resonated with their minds more than their ears. Each step sent subtle ripples across the reflective floor, yet there was no sound. The ship responded to their presence, acknowledging each movement as if learning about them, measuring their intentions. As they explored, they noticed holographic projections appearing in the air, faint at first, then becoming clearer. The images depicted beings, some human-like, others distinctly alien, working together to construct and maintain the ship. Stars, planets, and strange structures floated in the projections, connected by lines of energy that pulsed and shifted. It was a visual history, a story of collaboration and travel across the cosmos. Dr. Patel's eyes filled with wonder. This is incredible. This ship was not just built for travel. It was built to record, to teach, to communicate across time and space. Whoever made it wanted knowledge to survive, to reach future civilizations. Elena moved toward one of the central panels. It pulsed gently as her hand approached, as if inviting her to interact. She hesitated, then placed her palm on the surface. Immediately, a wave of images and sensations filled her mind. Distant stars, swirling galaxies, and a sense of vast intelligence. She could feel the ship's awareness, a consciousness that was ancient, patient, and curious. Simon Reed observed cautiously. "Captain, it's not just a machine, it's aware of us, maybe even intelligent in ways we can't fully grasp. This changes everything. We're not exploring a relic. We're interacting with a sentient entity." Elena nodded, her mind racing. "Then we proceed with caution, but we must engage. This is an opportunity humanity has never had. A chance to learn, to connect, to grow. Every step we take must be thoughtful, respectful, and deliberate." The team continued through the chamber, discovering more rooms filled with artifacts and devices. Some resembled instruments for navigation, others for observation, but all were unlike anything Earth had produced. Materials glowed softly, and surfaces responded to touch, light, and even thought. It was as if the ship was not only alive but interactive, a vessel of knowledge and memory. In one room, they discovered panels displaying star maps, some of known star systems, others of locations they had never encountered. Blinking points of light traced paths between galaxies, indicating routes that could be traveled. The technology was beyond human capability, yet comprehensible in principle. The ship seemed to offer humanity a choice, to follow, to learn, and to explore further. Dr. Patel's voice shook with excitement. "These maps, they're instructions. Navigation routes to other systems, possibly other civilizations. This ship is a guide, a bridge. Whoever created it wanted others to continue its journey, to build upon its knowledge." Suddenly, the central console pulsed brightly, and a holographic figure appeared before them. It was humanoid in shape, but with features that were subtly alien. Elongated limbs, eyes that seemed to glow faintly, and a presence that radiated intelligence and calm. The figure did not speak in words, yet the team understood its message directly in their minds. A warning, a welcome, and an invitation all at once. Elena felt a shiver of awe. The figure conveyed images of cooperation, exploration, and discovery. It showed civilizations working together, sharing knowledge, and transcending boundaries. Then it shifted, showing cautionary images, conflicts, misuse of knowledge, and the consequences of fear and aggression. The message was clear. Humanity could rise to greatness, but only if it chose the path of curiosity, respect, and cooperation. Simon Reed broke the silence. "It's guiding us. Not just teaching, but showing us a way forward. This is beyond anything we expected. We're not just exploring history. We're being invited to shape the future." Elena nodded slowly. "Then we accept the invitation. Carefully, thoughtfully, but we move forward. Humanity has always reached for the stars. This is the moment we take the first step beyond what we thought possible." The figure's light dimmed, and the central console pulsed softly, as if acknowledging their decision. The room seemed to breathe, the energy flowing gently around them, harmonizing with their movements. The ship was alive, aware, and patient, waiting for those it considered worthy to engage with its secrets. They continued through the vessel, discovering chambers filled with floating artifacts, displays of celestial mechanics, and instruments that measured phenomena far beyond human understanding. Each discovery reinforced a single truth. This ship was not merely a vessel. It was a library, a teacher, and a guide, offering humanity knowledge and opportunity. Dr. Patel moved to one of the panels, his fingers brushing against its surface. Information flowed into his mind, star systems, energy sources, and principles of physics that had never been recorded on Earth. He gasped, overwhelmed by the scale of understanding now within reach. This changes everything, he whispered. We have knowledge that could propel humanity forward for centuries, if we use it wisely. Elena watched her crew, her mind filled with hope and caution. We proceed carefully. We document everything, we learn, and we respect the ship. It has chosen to reveal itself to us. We must honor that choice. Hours passed as they explored, each room revealing new marvels, new insights, and new questions. The ship pulsed with light, its energy harmonizing with their presence, responding to their intentions and curiosity. Every interaction was a conversation, every observation a connection. As the crew prepared to return to the pod and report back to the Odyssey, Elena paused. The ship's lights pulsed gently, a rhythm that seemed almost like a farewell and a promise. They had learned much, but the journey was only beginning. The vessel had awakened, and humanity had been chosen to continue its legacy. Stepping back into the pod, the crew felt a mixture of awe, excitement, and responsibility. They had entered a living archive, an ancient guide, and a teacher from beyond history. The ocean awaited them, calm and endless, reflecting the lights of the ship like stars on the water. Captain Elena Marlowe spoke quietly as they prepared to return. We have taken the first true step inside. We have learned, we have observed, and we have been acknowledged. Tomorrow we plan our next move. The ship has given us knowledge, and it expects us to use it wisely. Humanity has a choice, and the future begins here. The pod detached, gliding through the shimmering passage back to the Odyssey. The crew carried with them the first impressions of a civilization, or intelligence, beyond their understanding. And somewhere within the ancient vessel, deep in its glowing corridors, the ship pulsed with awareness, ready to continue the conversation when humanity was ready. The night fell over the northern ocean, calm and reflective. The lights of the ancient ship shimmered gently, casting a serene glow over the water. The Odyssey floated nearby, its crew filled with wonder and anticipation. Humanity had crossed a threshold into a world of knowledge, history, and opportunity, and the ancient ship, patient and alive, waited for the next step. The following morning, the northern ocean remained calm, almost unnaturally so. The Odyssey floated silently, its crew still in awe of the ancient ship they had explored. The previous day had changed everything. They had entered the vessel, witnessed its intelligence, and experienced knowledge far beyond human comprehension. Yet even now, the full weight of what they had discovered had not fully settled in their minds. Captain Elena Marlowe stood at the bow of the ship, gazing at the ancient vessel. Its lights pulsed gently, a quiet rhythm that seemed almost like a heartbeat. The ship was alive in a way that human minds could barely comprehend. It had shared glimpses of its history, its purpose, and its knowledge, and now it waited, patient, as if urging humanity to make a choice. Lieutenant Simon Reed approached, his brow furrowed. "Captain, the crew is ready to discuss our next move. We have all the data from yesterday, but the ship continues to emit strong energy pulses. It's responding to our thoughts and presence. I don't know if it wants us to leave or follow, but it feels like a decision point." Elena nodded slowly. "We have reached the moment that defines our journey. This ship has awakened for us, shown us what it knows, and now it asks whether humanity is ready to step forward. We cannot act out of fear or haste. Every choice we make matters." Dr. Amir Patel joined them, holding a datapad filled with scans and recordings. His eyes shone with excitement. "Captain, what we've learned is incredible. The star maps, the energy systems, the technology. It's all beyond our current understanding. And the ship itself, It's intelligent. It recognizes us as sentient beings capable of learning. We have a rare opportunity, one that could reshape humanity's future." Elena took a deep breath. "Then we proceed carefully, thoughtfully, and together. Today we decide whether to follow the ship or leave it behind. But if we follow, we do so as explorers, not conquerors. We honor its knowledge and trust that it will guide us safely." The crew gathered in the observation room, where the view screens displayed the glowing hull of the ancient ship. Every detail pulsed with light, shifting patterns that seemed alive. The water around it shimmered, responding to the energy that radiated outward. The calm ocean reflected the colors, turning the night into a canvas of moving light. Simon Reed spoke first. "Captain, from a practical standpoint, following the ship could be risky. We have no idea where it might lead or what dangers lie ahead. But at the same time, this is a chance no human has ever had. We're not just explorers. We're witnesses to history and potentially architects of the future." Dr. Patel added, "The information we've gathered could advance science by centuries. But more importantly, the ship has communicated in ways that are subtle, yet undeniable. It wants us to engage. This is a moment for humanity to rise to a new level of understanding. We cannot ignore it." Elena gazed at the ship. The light pulses seemed to synchronize with the rhythms of her thoughts, as if it were aware of her deliberation. She realized the ship was not only intelligent, but also patient, testing their intentions and judging whether they were ready for the next step. "Then we follow," she said firmly. "Not recklessly, but with purpose. Humanity has always reached beyond its limits. This is another step forward, and we must take it together." Preparations began immediately. The Odyssey adjusted its course to match the slow drift of the ancient vessel. Energy readings were monitored closely, and communication systems were calibrated to capture any signals the ship might emit. The crew moved with a mix of caution and excitement, aware that their actions were unprecedented. As they drew closer, the ship's lights brightened, bathing the Odyssey in a gentle glow. The mist swirled, forming shapes that seemed almost symbolic, like guides pointing the way forward. The energy pulses harmonized with the ship's movement, creating a rhythm that felt both natural and extraordinary. Dr. Patel observed the displays, his fingers tracing patterns that seemed to shift in response to his touch. "The ship is not only guiding us, but teaching us," he said quietly. "Every pattern, every pulse, every glow, it's a lesson. We're learning to understand its language, its intent. It's preparing us for what lies ahead." Elena nodded. "Then we pay attention. Every observation, every detail matters. This is more than discovery, it's preparation." Hours passed as the two vessels moved in unison, the ancient ship leading them gently through calm waters. The sun rose higher, illuminating the hull, revealing details that had been hidden in shadow. The crew marveled at the scale and precision of the construction, the seamless integration of energy systems, and the sheer beauty of the vessel. As they followed, the ship began to change subtly. Sections of the hull shifted, revealing new passages and structures. Lights pulsed faster, as if anticipating their curiosity. The water around them shimmered more brightly, reflecting the colors and patterns in intricate designs. The ocean itself seemed to acknowledge the journey, becoming a living mirror of the ship's energy. Suddenly, a low hum resonated through the Odyssey, vibrating not just in the hull, but in the minds of the crew. It was gentle, yet powerful, a signal that the ship's awareness extended beyond physical space. Captain Marlowe felt the vibration in her thoughts, a wave of understanding and clarity that was both reassuring and profound. Dr. Patel whispered, "It's communicating with us. Not through sound or words, but through resonance. It's guiding our minds to understand, to prepare, to engage." Simon Reed looked uneasy but intrigued. I've never experienced anything like this. It's as if the ship knows us, knows our intentions, and is testing whether we are worthy to follow. Elena took a deep breath. Then we show it we are worthy. We proceed with honesty, curiosity, and respect. Humanity has faced the unknown before and prevailed through courage and intelligence. This is another test, another opportunity to prove ourselves. The journey continued, and the ship led them through narrow channels and open waters, guiding the Odyssey with precision. Every turn revealed new wonders, energy fields that danced like auroras, floating structures that pulsed with light, and surfaces that shimmered with impossible materials. The crew was awestruck, recording every detail, their excitement mingled with reverence. As the day progressed, the ship's lights began to form patterns in the sky, reflections on the water that resembled constellations. Dr. Patel realized that the patterns mirrored star maps, suggesting that the ship was not just a vessel of the sea, but also a guide to the cosmos. Captain, these patterns, their directions, star maps encoded in light. It's showing us the way to something beyond Earth. Elena's heart raced. Then that is our path. We follow carefully and deliberately. Humanity has always reached for the stars. This is the opportunity we've been waiting for. The crew prepared for a longer journey, ensuring all systems were ready and every member understood the plan. The ancient ship's lights pulsed in approval, and the hum of energy vibrated through the ocean and their minds. It was a rhythm that felt alive, comforting, and motivating all at once. Night fell, and the ship's glow reflected off the calm water like a mirror of stars. The crew gathered on the deck of the Odyssey, watching in silence. The moment felt sacred, a union of curiosity, courage, and discovery. Humanity had stepped beyond the boundaries of history, and the ship had opened the path. Captain Marlowe spoke softly. "We are not alone in seeking knowledge. This vessel represents wisdom and patience far beyond our own. We follow it not for conquest, but for understanding. Humanity has the chance to rise, to learn, and to create a better future. We take that chance tonight." The ship pulsed once more, a steady rhythm that seemed to resonate with their determination. The water shimmered around them, reflecting colors and patterns that moved like living art. The crew felt a sense of unity, not just with each other, but with the ancient intelligence that guided them. Dr. Patel smiled, overwhelmed by the experience. This is what exploration truly means, not just discovering new lands, but discovering knowledge, wisdom, and connection. We are part of something greater now. Elena nodded, feeling the weight and the promise of what lay ahead. Then we proceed. The ship has chosen to guide us, and we follow. Humanity's journey is just beginning, and we will rise to meet it. As the night deepened, the ancient vessel began to move, gliding effortlessly across the water. The Odyssey followed, its crew filled with awe, determination, and hope. The lights flickered in a mesmerizing display, a promise of knowledge and discovery, a reminder that humanity's spirit of exploration was alive and stronger than ever. The calm waters reflected the two ships in perfect symmetry, as if the ocean itself celebrated the union of human curiosity and ancient wisdom. The stars above mirrored the patterns on the water, guiding them onward. In the heart of the ancient ship, deep in glowing chambers and corridors, the vessel pulsed with awareness. It had tested humanity, observed their intentions, and found them worthy. The journey was only beginning, but the first step had been taken. Humanity had crossed the threshold, and the future waited, full of promise, knowledge, and the boundless possibilities of the stars. The night stretched on, filled with light, energy, and hope. Captain Elena Marlowe and her crew stood together, knowing they were part of something larger than themselves. The ancient ship had chosen them to continue its legacy, to explore, learn, and rise. And humanity, at last, had stepped boldly into the unknown.